Okay, so now we're going to play around with the little bit of lines that you see here. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to turn the eyeball off of that one we just drew, the whole top, bottom, all that stuff. I'm going to lock it and turn it off so that I'm just working on a brand new layer so that I can just focus on doing these kind of shadow or decorative lines or whatever that's on there. I'm going to turn this back to default stroke and fill. But since I'm only working with the lines, I'm going to actually turn the fill off so that it's just worried about the actual line itself, the stroke. And that way I don't have to worry about accidentally pulling in a fill or anything like that. It's just working on the lines. So I'm going to use the segment tool, the line segment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the first one to match the size here. I'm going to hold shift so it automatically goes straight. And I'm going to release both of them. So you see the line. I'm going to turn the eyeball off. There it is. Okay, I'm going to go back to the line segment tool. Draw this bottom one here the same size. Hold shift so it stays straight. And I'm going to release both of them. Now I have two lines. Now I'm going to fill in the in-between with lines. So I'm going to click from the gray area or just outside of the shapes and rubber band marquee, select everything that's on this layer because everything else is locked. Then I'm going to go over here in my tools and I'm going to find what's called the blend tool. Sometimes it is out already, sometimes it's not. It's usually, and I've forgotten where it normally is. Yeah, it's right here. It's got this square, kind of square and a circle. That's the blend tool. So I'm going to select that. Then I'm going to click on that first one. And you see how it kind of goes to like that star? That's the start. So I'm going to click on it. Then I'm going to hover down on this last one. See how it goes plus? That's the finish. Now I'm going to do that again so you can see it, but I'm going to turn off this other part. So I'm on the blend tool. I'm going to start here, hover down, see how it goes plus. Now it's filled it with a bunch of lines. That's not what I want to that degree. So while it's still selected, I'm going to double click the blend tool. You're going to get this window that pops up. Right now it's set on smooth color. You want the spacing to be set on specific steps, and you only want the steps to be like maybe 15. If you click here in the gray or over here on these, it'll show you, hey, that's about 15 steps. I think maybe I have some more or less, so maybe I'm going to go 12. Click over here so that you see it. It's on preview, so you see how many steps it is. I'm going to hit OK. So between 12 and 15 will get you relatively close to what's on there. Doesn't have to be perfect, just super close. But what that has done is automatically copied and pasted a bunch of lines from a start to a finish, and now this is its own shape. It's a big thing. It's just controlled by the start and the bottom, by the start and the stop lines. So I'm going to line that back up where it was. Like I said, it's not going to be absolutely the same, and that is fine. Now I'm going to do these right here that are kind of angled. Still in the same one. Go back to my line segment. I'm going to draw on top of this so I get the size that I'm asking. I'm going to turn this one off again so I see it very clearly. Go back to the tool. That whole row, they're all the same size line. So I'm going to select it, and I'm just going to Control C to copy it and Control V to paste it. Now I want them to be in line right now. So I'm going to select them both. And what you will have up top in this options is the alignment. You want horizontal align. So these will be straight up and down. So they will be exactly where they're supposed to be, set in the middle. Give it a little more space. So select them both. Go to the, where'd you go, buddy? Go to the blend tool, select it again, click on the start, click on the end, double click the blend tool for the options, open up spacing to specific steps, set it to maybe 10 this time. Seems about what I have, and then hit OK. Now the original picture, it's all angled. That's another reason I like the blend tool. It's because I can control that angle by using the selection tool. I might have to zoom in just a little bit. You may have to as well. Double click on that bottom line. See, everything kind of grays out or looks a little different. I'm now inside of that shape and I can make adjustments. So see how I'm moving? I'm just clicking on that bottom one and I'm moving it. I can click on that bottom one and hold shift and move it to just straight left and right or straight up and down. This will automatically make the angle that I want. If I click on the top one, I can stretch it out a little bit. And then I double click over here in the gray, you see it leaves the shape. So now I've got the spacing about right. I've got the angle about right. I'm just going to put it about where it goes. I'm going to double my hand to zoom back out, because the next one I want to do is these. Now this, I'm not going to use the blend tool. I'm actually just going to draw them because it's way easier. Just use the blend tool. Start, hold shift, go that far, click again, drag it out, hold shift, click to start, drag it out. I'm holding down the left click if I didn't say that earlier. But you could also click, it'll give you this, but I'm clicking to drag. Click and drag, click and drag. Oops, I'm just trying to move a little bit. My mouse stuttered. So click and drag, holding shift. And now I have all those. Super easy. So if I turn that off, you got that shading or line work or whatever. But now, if you haven't noticed, like, it looks different. So it's not exactly the same. The line looks a little different. It's a little thicker. There's a reason that I haven't touched that yet, and I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to unlock all this. So these two, this is all, I'm going to click and drag to select everything, or I'm going to hit Control A and it'll select everything on both layers. Doesn't matter, it just selects everything. First, I'm going to go to stroke. If it's not up, go to Windows, click on stroke. It'll pop out. Then I'm going to go over to these three lines. I'm going to click on it. I want to show options. This opens this window up and there's a lot more stuff going on. Now I have these set at about 3 for the weight. So I'm going to bump it up to about 3. And I have the caps at rounded. So I'm going to click on that. So what's going to happen is that everything's going to thicken up. All of the individual lines are going to be rounded now. And it just gives it a more stylized look. Now you will see some of them might be hanging out of the edge. So you do the same thing where you got to make adjustments. You click on something, you double click, go to the, and then you can still work with just this one line, this one anchor point, and you can make little adjustments. See here how thickening that line, it made them kind of cross over. So I'm gonna just kind of move it to where they're touching these two flat sides. And it won't be absolutely perfect. You might have a little drag over, so kind of play. Double click on the hand. There is the top. To save this, you can go File, Save As. You're going to name it your last name, top. Hit Save as an Illustrator file. So Save As type Illustrator. You're going to hit OK on this window. Then to save it as an actual picture, you're going to go File, Export, Export As. File name will already be picked. Save as type. For this one, a PNG is perfectly fine. It's a small type of file. Then hit export. For the resolution, you could do a medium. Leave the background color as transparent. And hit OK. There is a colorful top drawn with just shapes and lines and a little bit of line options to make it look stylized.